Hello, hello. I'm back. Lecture Vision. Me, your host, Aleia Knight. And on our show, as always, talk about TikTok. Take care. Today, a little different. Before I get into it, talk about last week. So, if you've been here before, hopefully that means you have followed my channel on Twitch or Facebook, that you're getting these updates about what's going on every week in terms of my show, in terms of topical and other programs that we put on. Catch us every week. Haven't subscribed because we do it every Saturday, same time, same place, as well as Brian's show, same time, same place, approximately hours from now. Make sure you get on top of that. You don't. In terms of what we have been working on our show, of course, electric vision entertainment, all sorts of talk about space and times we other times elsewhere. These past few weeks we've focused on is personally that's kind of my special my passion. And as a data science make school, main reason I went data science so I could learn to handle data and input better. I can make my so um that's what we see. Focusing on hardware. Have on this. But you know, be as a live show. I give a authentic just like to be especially in climate. um so rather than editing out things or just jump that around actually the upside to that is you get to like see firsthand what's actually going on behind the scenes. Um, rather than going on YouTube finding a YouTube video of like spot and like yeah, if you cut out like 3 hours of build time and 8 hours of troubleshoot 30 minutes. We want to show you what it's actually like. So it's not just like, oh, it's easy, super hard. It's like no, this is realistic about what it's like. Downside to that is when we have troubleshooting problems, they can't always be fixed that same day. And a lot of times things get out of your control. So, for example, we've been working on forgetting that, like, so what we've been working on here for the past few, um, hexapod robot has 6 legs. I always want to call it the spider or some such like that, but then it's like technically it has 6 legs, not 8 legs. I can't really call it that. Technically, been working on this giant hexapod robot right here, built and everything. OS is programmed to the Raspberry Pi works, all of that. Problem is getting the power function. And what we noticed was it was getting power and it was burning out. Don't know if I mentioned on the last show, but if I didn't, I'll just update, which is that discovered, of course, that this side, which is the motor function, wasn't getting power. So we switched batteries out. That was all sorts of things. That was draining the batteries. We charged the batteries, got new batteries. Then we got it working. Batteries. So like, okay, cool. And we noticed the legs back here out of camera side. These legs were overlapping when it ran the test program, but the motor was still running. And then it caused for the battery packs to start smoking, etc. So we're like, that's the problem. These are wrong locations. Um, which is fine because we just last episode we sat and we got them together in the sense that we unwired everything and rewired everything. So the next step was to test it out and see if that fixed the problem. It have fixed it. If not, it's a coding thing. The motors are aligned to the wrong position. However, couldn't test last week because of power. Right? We have to, on the underside of this, our gunshot. So you see underneath the bottom, we have battery pack 1. This battery pack is connected to our control. And our control is our Raspberry Pi. So, and all the like other controllers that are making sure all the functionality happens. This side, where there's missing battery pack, is power that controls the servos by themselves. So the problem was that we could test out, you could turn on the power to the controllers and work a little with that, but without power to servos, we can't really see if it works. And the real downside is, I know last week we were having an issue with the Raspberry Pi, even that it was not really or connecting. Maybe I'll see if I can get that today. But like the batteries are, these batteries do not hold charge. Anyway, yeah, so we weren't able to power up Raspberry Pi and get into it. But even if we did, because we don't have power to the motors, we can't tell them what to do because they don't have power. So we went ahead and took a stop there. Oh, hi, welcome, welcome. Um, so we went ahead and took a stop last week at that point. The plan for this week was to have more of these battery packs. My camera doesn't plot them out. More of these battery packs. These are the ones that came with it. And what I did to do testing last week was I took the battery pack off of different robots, and it worked. That was a crazy thing. It's like it worked. It was technically batteries there, so it made sense that it worked. But this was the second one is the one that like kind of blew up. Um, we weren't really able to get that going. All right, so yeah, we weren't able to get um all the parts necessary last week because we didn't know fully what the problem was. That like there's power issue down there, it's overheating, so we moved the wires around. Um, so went ahead and got more battery packs because the alternative solution today, what we're gonna do today, because like I said, I ordered more of these. Um, the only difference is whatever reason. I really don't understand why they do this, but example. So the battery pack. You buy battery packs like this for at least for this type of battery, it's cut like right about here. So it's just pack and then the two wires. Then the separately there is the DC adapter and two wires. Doesn't make sense, but whatever. Um, so I ordered a bunch of those. So we're gonna get those today. Solder the DC adapters to battery pack, and then that way we can start testing. That was the plan. However, in the nature of being a technologist, especially when in hardware, there's always the biggest factor of things out of your control, which is getting parts. This things are already interesting in terms of shipping right now. But even I said in my job as an engineer, I've ordered parts inside internally in a company. And sometimes they come quickly, but other times they do not think it's a necessary part, so they don't have enough in stock. And with that being said, I have to order it outside, or they have to special request. That could take anywhere from days. So luckily for us, I don't have to wait like a few months usually for my part, but it's a matter of knowing exactly which one. So I ordered some today. Not today. I ordered them a few days ago. This will be here by this morning. Apparently, they by tonight. Um, upside is I will have them by the next. Downside is I will have them for. Once again, we're at an impasse. This robot's trying to get it power, so we can't really work on it. But I can try real quick. I don't think it'll work because last time I ordered batteries, I ordered these blue batteries, Amazon, which really doesn't matter. Um, but they weren't charged when I got them for some reason. Maybe because they're rechargeable, ambient discharge. But I got these other parts from reputable Amazon's. This is a exclusive battery shop for these type of batteries. I think it's called like 18650 batteries for .com, buy.com, something like that. So we might just try to input these batteries in so I can get power for the Raspberry Pi. See if we can do that today. They said today is more show title. Today is more of a lab day in the sense that rather than working hard on like a project, we're gonna kind of just more so talk about what we've done, um, where we're at, plans for the future, because they keep it 100, as they say. So we all know this is as a make ambassador. Um, Think about being an ambassador. Also, so make school works in term. I'm gonna work on um make school works in set of terms, being kind of like in quarters. If you go for the summers in terms of don't, it's like so this past week finals for this term and lot. It's not like a bunch of tests like most projects. Upside to that is I don't have to bang my head against the wall trying to figure out answers to tests that don't really quantify what I know. Downside to that is I have a bunch of projects that I have this week was stressful but tiresome to say the least. So with that being said, these past shows, like I said, have been more like project based because they're just fun to work on this project rather than full tutorial type episodes. Positive. So, um, I was like, all right, it's been a long week for myself. For other streams, we'll just do something a little more laid back this week rather than diving. Since we're just going to talk, hang out, maybe coordinate on things. Um, just gonna coordinate on some talk about the future of the show. Come up with some. It was charged. Saw the light come on. Start to see vaguely. Did that light came? Vaguely. Um. So. But yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. It's just more of a freeform thing. Anyone who's hat, um, definitely give some ideas about what other robots they want to see. Things like that. I'll just talk about potential projects as well that I was thinking. So right now, I'm gonna say we're doing season. I don't know how else to describe it. We're gonna say season one. We're on now. Probably go for at least a few more months, and we're just as we are creating all sorts of plots, mostly from kits. May towards the end get into more advanced things, so like little 3D modeling. Hopefully by then I can get a 3D printer, like a tutorial on how to get started with that. Um, work on a few other major and minor projects. But otherwise, just kind of like ideate about um I will pull up to let us in this time. For whatever reason last week it was letting us in. Makes me think it got corrupted. Now shouldn't have. It did, we can maybe try to reflash it in it. Um I don't know what the problem. Things just the life of a tech person, like I mentioned before with code, where sometimes it just works, other times it just don't know why it's the case. I'll share my screen. The main software I'm using right now is called Top Connect for Windows. Um, comes default on your computer. It's just a way to remote other systems. That's science. Comes default on all Windows computers. The MacBook, I believe, all V&C. Oh, we're not gonna because so I was updating my network. I'm taking another make school thing. There's a back end web class. We have a lot of back end web classes, but recently I took one on network security or web security. And it's always something it's important. A lot of reasons for your security. For me, I'd be putting it off for the longest time because we're learning about different firewall passwords. My network. So I sat yesterday, figured my network, not realizing my Raspberry Pi was on my network. So I have to it. I can't use hang with some babies while I go catch this Raspberry Pi to make. Fortunately, internet. There's only one access department. One of these days, I'll probably just go. For now, it's way over there. I have to. Before I do that, but I will have to get the Raspberry Pi off and take the off. Make sure if you're doing the same project or mindful of the side of this. How it's oriented. Stuff doesn't matter how it's oriented. Pi. Base part. Basically, how there's two. If you notice, there's main boards on here, so they're small. One, of course, is the Raspberry Pi controller. The a hat. hat is just attachment and out certain sources. So yeah, the hat is just a way for us to expand out. So say you're using like an Arduino and you need space servo. One option, Mega, which is with a bunch of extra features. But if you don't have one, that option, you should always get a hat that is purely for expanding out more pins. So that's what this basically. Over here on the side, on the Raspberry Pi, is I/O output. All the rest of this, HDMI, USB, network parts stuff, good, but it's not useful as programming directly. So in that case, and we have a lot of servers, like three per leg, 20, yeah, 18 in the legs. There are 20 servos that have to be controlled with these very few amounts. Instead, here basically ties in works down here. All of these that control feel the hat. Maybe the camera. Can't tell by his acronym. Out. Anyway, yes. So quick, bear with me. Quick little hang in their baby screen while I go run over and connect parts. Right back. We can back in. Give it about 30 seconds for it to connect all this background. Just every week, same time. Um, so it doesn't seem to connect to it. I can flash it. That's not the point. I'm just getting sidebar. But it's fine because they say today's kind of a lab day slash. I figure since the parts are in here, we don't. And the thing about the other, okay, second one. Like I mentioned, could have worked on this. But this is Plan B. There's a couple plans in case parts didn't get here. Plan B for today, right? It also has a camera on top. This is by Sunfounder. Other one is by Freenose. This one is by Sunfound. Also uses Raspberry Pi. So I have Raspberry Pi on here as well. I don't think it's a newer one. One I have that I just plugged up is Raspberry Pi 4B. This is a free see. I could take it off. Find out. But this throw is fully built and functional. I've never worked with the programming. At the time, this was the first time I ever bought a Raspberry Pi when I got this. But how to operate. I kind of just left gather dust. Now I'm how to work with Raspberry Pi. Now, oh, this will go ahead and flash it operating up there because this I don't think I have issues with that one. Because it uses like power, it doesn't have servos, and I don't have to worry about its legs over. Then covered problem. Also a part problem. Oh, blue. Alright. Oof. This hat. Same thing I mentioned hat for the control type of hat. What is Raspberry Pi Model 4B? I guess plug the camera into. Oh no, it's a whole different type of camera. The other one plugs in. There's a port here. Because of how this camera set. Anyway, excuse me. Like I mentioned, we're gonna program this, get this robot running. However, last minute, realized something highly important that I don't have. I mentioned before with Raspberry Pis, like the mini, and you have that operating system. Regular computer have to have RAM, ROM, RAM and ROM. And RAM is just like the memory that the computer keeps in order to function. They get like certain processing power. The ROM is hard drive and the SSD stuff. The actual back in the old days, those floppy disks. I miss floppy disks. I might get some just 36. Anyway, so for Raspberry Pis, for our operating system, equivalent is a micro SD card. I realize I don't have any more. I need to just like stock up. Every time I order a part, I need to order like 3 of them at this point. And I would take the memory off the other one, but it's already been set up in so many ways. I don't want to alter it and start over. I have a backup one somewhere, but because I previously did it for a cell phone, something tells me it's not gonna work. I reformat it because I tried and so I don't have memories. I can't program operating. can't even do the second robot. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of parts. They said it's very realistic. The idea of how actual robotics works is that you can have literally everything set up except for like one thing, and that one thing is what cause you to, stand still. Um, I don't have too much. I know if you've been here before, you know that like almost every single show they over early, and I never do. I always go over time. Today might actually be that day where I'm like, yeah, guys, we're gonna early because I really don't um have too much else. I kind of ideate with you all in terms of future projects because I will have a show 2 weeks from now that won't be live. I'm gonna play it back for you of Jordan, our stream. Gonna help me with that. But it's gonna be a pre-recorded show working on a separate, isolated project, and might do a couple of those. Not in the sense that they're pre-recorded, but in the sense that we might do a few, like isolated, smaller episodes for these type of moments. So with that being said, I'll probably create a list of small, isolated projects we can for days like this for other parts, and I'll just buy way more parts in advance and just like maybe tonight, tomorrow, sit it all together and do that. Alongside that, projects I plan to work on, I'll see if I can get it set up over break, and if I can, so we're out of school for now. I think we have about 2 weeks of break before we get back into our next. So this is time. This is when I set up my Kanban board, if you know what it is, sticky note track of stuff. As well as doing other things just to get myself on track, etc. So the things I'm probably gonna do for everyone is to um either on Instructables or I believe it's maker.io set that up so I can put projects on there. That way, if you want to work with, if you want to emulate this project later, you can. You have full access and I can show you the link to the actual project. Like GitHub, where I can show you the link to the code and everything in there for code. It'll be the same hardware. So we'll do that, and then that way, if I do like small isolated projects that only require say 5 little pieces versus $200 worth of gadgetry, then it's up there. It's more readily available. That's an option. I'll be working on that over the hopefully when you tune in, I can just drop the link for you follow along either um, in person if I send the link out ahead of time, parts ahead of time, because most of the small project parts you can get from like Lowe's, Hobby Lobby, would say Walmart, but they stuff, or your local electronics store if they still in your area. That's something I'm working on after try to get it set up. Takes a little bit. Wise. Yeah. And then like I said, some of the other bigger projects, we'll see. The main one I have in mind is that glove where I 3D print the hand. I set up wires, some like fishing wire part stuff. Some servos, some flex sensors that bend. Um, and they can detect how much something has bent. So that's how it'll tell if my hand is like straight or like this. I'll put those. We're gonna get some of those and work on that project. In terms of other large projects, I haven't quite figured out what yet. Right now, it's a bunch of smaller ones like finishing up this big one, this robot car, um, and I said those smaller isolated. But in terms of big projects, mainly the hand, and we'll kind of go from there. It's gonna take a couple weeks since we usually try to stick to an hour per show, not too much less. And we're gonna work on that, get it all programmed, situated. Beyond that, you definitely hop into our Discord. I will drop it. chat on Twitch. It should be on the screen. It is on the screen. Make.sc/join Discord. Hop in there. I could give more. I will probably put more updates as we go into there about the status of hardware repository, and then you can also message me on Discord. I think my name is Electric might just be Aleia Knight, either Aleia Knight or Electric Empress on Discord, depending on what server you're in. You can message me directly or tag me, like at me faster, and you can suggest ideas. Send me videos of robots you see. I can talk about them. Um, you send me videos of like cool robot stuff. I just saw LED of like parts. So I might do something like that. Definitely send me recommendations for robots if you that way it can help widen my pool. I only can take in the and I would love to see what you guys want to see. Obviously, I do this for myself just to like practice robotics. I do this as an ambassador for show off technology, but I also do it for the people who come in and so many people are interested in technology, um, but there's not as many sources of like, especially like let's say live shows. They're not usually based on robotics hardware, and a lot of people want to get into it and doesn't know how. Don't have the resources, or just want someone to just be familiar with it, talk to them directly about what's going on with these. That's where I come definitely come here and talk about that every week. Then we're probably gonna wrap up a little early today because I don't have too much calls since parts aren't here and the Raspberry Pi. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to reflash the whole part. So that may be something I'll plan out for next week as well. As episode, like we're just gonna make a giant checklist. Get like one of the chalkboards. Like, here's a checklist. Gotta get SD cards, flash both. Gotta reconfigure both Raspberry Pis to the Wi-Fi network. Gotta get the battery packs and solder them all to the DC adapters. All that type of stuff. Um, a lot of things on the checklist. I said we're realistic when it comes to showing how robotics is. Like, I know I need to do one thing, turn the power on for this robot, but in order to do that, I have to do this, this, and that, and hope they all work. So it's fun though. I enjoy working with it. It's challenging, it's frustrating, but it's a challenge. And the good thing about a challenge is knowing that you're from it. So that's what we're here for. We're here to overcome challenges and build cool. So with that being said, I'm probably gonna wrap up today's show. Make sure once again, as I keep saying, I'm gonna keep saying, follow us on our Facebook, Twitch. Back here every week. The other stuff we have to build. Some weeks will be high intensity, crazy stuff. You can always go back and check it out. If you miss any episodes at make.sc/watchEVE, you can catch all the previous episodes, and then you can also go follow any of the links at the bottom of the down there. My GitHub, my Instagram, etc. That way you can see projects I'm working on, clips from the show, so you know what shows are like might be more interested in than others. That so yeah. With that being said, I want to go ahead and wish you all a good rest of your Saturday. I keep peeking over here because I'm like waiting for the Amazon man to come my battery packs. um, the life of being a tech person. Like, where are my parts? So yeah, wish you all a good rest of your Saturday. I hope to see you all next week. Hopefully everything will be a little more placed by next week. That way we can get this robot moving. I want you guys to see it move because I've seen it move twice. Both times it has scared the life out of me, even though I'm building it. I want you all to see it move to understand how cool and terrifying and awesome and just weird it is. So hopefully everything's all in place, and I'll do some testing before the show again to try to get it working. Um, And once we get that, we can, once it's up and running, we can glimpse at the code, do some edits, get it moving around, and then after that, we'll see from there. We'll do that isolated episode, and then hopefully we can get into either another project or finish up another robot. We'll see how we go. We'll roll with it. Like I said, make sure to join the Discord, send me suggestions, track of the tech community side and outside of me. That being said, I wish you a good day and see you next week.